What you are about to hear is not a headline. It is not background noise. It is a warning signal that the entire world should be paying close attention to right now. Because what just happened in the Middle East could change everything, and I mean everything. The kind of shift that historians write about for centuries. The kind of moment that, once it passes, cannot be undone. So stay with me, because this is one of those stories where every single detail matters. My name is Kundi, and you are watching Pulse America News. Israel has just carried out a major strike targeting one of Iran's most powerful and most important figures. We are talking about Ali Larijani, the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, a man who is not just a name in a government list. He is one of the central pillars holding together Iran's entire national security structure. He has been at the heart of Iran's decision-making for years. He is close to the very top of the Iranian leadership. He communicates with the outside world. He negotiates. He speaks. He is the kind of person who, when removed from the picture, leaves a void that cannot easily be filled. And now Israel has targeted him directly. Let me be very clear about something first. At the time of this report, it has not been fully confirmed whether he survived this strike, whether he was wounded, or what exactly his current condition is. And I want you to keep that in mind, because this situation is still developing. But even the attempt itself, even the strike alone, sends a message so loud and so dangerous that the entire region is shaking from it. Now let us go back to what triggered this. Just before this strike, Larijani had delivered a very direct and very sharp statement. He did not just criticize America and Israel, he went further. He turned to the Muslim world and asked a question that clearly struck a nerve. He said, "How are you calling yourselves Muslims while providing bases to America and Israel so they can attack us? You are giving them the ground to stand on. You are giving them the launch pads, and then you expect us to simply stand there with our hands tied while missiles fall on our soil? You want us to act like nothing is happening? You want us to pretend we are not being hit? Then tell us clearly, are you standing with the Muslim world, or are you standing with America and Israel?" That statement was powerful. That statement was direct, and for Israel, that statement made him a prime target, because Larijani was not just speaking, he was rallying. He was trying to pull the Muslim world away from America and Israel's orbit. He was trying to build pressure. He was trying to change the balance of influence in the region, and that is something Israel simply could not ignore. When someone with that level of authority and that level of reach starts speaking that loudly, they become a problem. And historically, when someone becomes a problem in this conflict, they become a target. Now think about what this means on a deeper level. Think about who Ali Larijani actually is in the context of this war. Among the senior Iranian figures who have survived everything that has happened so far, he was perhaps the last one who still had the experience, the reputation, and the diplomatic weight to potentially bring things to a negotiated position. Not because he is soft, not because he is weak, but because he is old enough and experienced enough to have seen what wars truly cost. He remembers. He has that institutional memory that the newer, harder voices inside Iran do not have. And here is the brutal irony of what Israel may have just done. The older Iranian leadership, the ones who had seen enough of conflict to exercise some level of caution, the ones who held the door open even slightly for dialogue, those are the ones who have been systematically removed from the picture, killed, targeted, eliminated. What remains, what fills those empty chairs, are the hardliners, the ones who do not believe in negotiations, the ones who have been waiting for exactly this kind of provocation, and now they are sitting at the top. Now they are the ones making decisions. Meanwhile, look at what is happening on the American side. Steve Witkoff has reportedly been trying to open some kind of back-channel communication with Iran. The American side even suggested that initial contact had been made, but Iran's foreign minister came out and denied it completely. He said clearly that no contact had occurred, no communication, no agreement, no deal in the works, nothing.
America was, according to Iranian officials, simply not telling the truth when it suggested dialogue had begun. Now layer that on top of this strike. If America is genuinely trying to cool things down, if they are actually trying to find a way to stabilize oil markets and avoid a full-scale escalation, then what Israel just did is the opposite of helpful. It is not just unhelpful, it is the kind of action that could completely shatter whatever thin possibility of conversation existed. And America itself has reportedly acknowledged that it tried to stop Israel from hitting Iranian oil infrastructure. Israel went ahead anyway. The result was rising oil prices and an Iran that is by all accounts in no mood to listen to anyone right now. So here's where we are. America is trying to talk. Iran is refusing to engage. Israel is striking senior Iranian officials, and the people inside Iran who might have pumped the brakes are being removed one by one. This is not a recipe for de-escalation. This is a recipe for far worse.
Let us talk about what Iran actually has waiting on the other side of all of this, because there is a very important distinction that most people miss. What Iran has used so far in this conflict has largely been older stockpiles, missiles that were ready, that were available, that were used. But intelligence analysis and open source reporting have consistently pointed to the fact that Iran's most advanced, most dangerous underground arsenal has not been touched yet. Those weapons have been held back, deliberately, carefully, for a moment exactly like this one. We are talking about systems buried deep underground, missiles that have never been publicly launched in this conflict, technology that Iran has been developing and refining for years while everyone was focused on what was visible. And if this situation crosses a certain threshold, if a figure of Larijani's importance is confirmed dead, or if the strikes continue against senior Iranian leadership, those held back weapons are not going to stay underground much longer. And think about the drone situation for a moment, because it tells you everything you need to know about where Iran actually stands technologically. Iran has built a drone program so advanced, so effective, and so widely copied that even America has reportedly begun reverse engineering Iranian drone designs. Think about that. America, the country that has led global military technology for decades, is now copying Iran's drones. Iran even made a direct accusation, claiming that some of the drones being used in the Gulf region and attributed to other groups are actually American-made copies of Iranian designs, being used to stir conflict and then blame Iran. Whether that specific accusation is fully accurate or not, the underlying point stands. Iran's drone capability is not something that can be dismissed. 15 to 20 American drones were reportedly destroyed inside Iran. Israeli drones have also been taken down. These are not small numbers, these are real losses. And yet Iran's air defense systems, while effective against drone swarms, are reportedly still behind when it comes to dealing with advanced missile strikes and high-speed aircraft. That gap exists, but the missile capability more than compensates for it. In a full-scale exchange, Iran's offensive strength would be significant. Now, the Netanyahu situation also adds another layer of confusion and tension to all of this. His current condition and exact whereabouts have not been clearly confirmed through independent, verifiable means. His office has issued statements, videos have been released, but analysts and observers have pointed out that the footage circulating appears to be older material. He's not addressing the current situation. He's not referencing recent events. He's speaking to Iranian audiences in footage that does not reflect the moment we're in. When journalists pushed for clarity, when people asked why he is not holding a live press conference with international media present, no direct answer came. This matters, not as a rumor, not as speculation, but as a genuine information gap that affects how the world reads this conflict. If Netanyahu is fine, if he is healthy and in command, then the solution is simple. Hold a live press conference. Invite CNN, invite BBC, invite Al Jazeera, invite Reuters. Let them ask questions in real time. Let him respond. End the speculation.
The fact that this has not happened, the fact that pre-recorded and unrelated footage keeps being released instead, raises questions that the Israeli government has not answered clearly. Meanwhile, the hardliners in Iran are now fully in control. The moderate voices, the diplomats, the older statesmen who once might have found a way to bring things back from the edge have been killed or sidelined. What is left are people who believe that Iran has been too patient for too long. People who watched Qasem Soleimani get assassinated and saw Iran absorb that loss without a devastating military response. People who believe that restraint was interpreted as weakness, and those people are now the ones running the show. Here's something to really sit with. After Soleimani was killed, Iran did respond, but the response was measured, calculated. The Iranian leadership at that time, as furious as they were, chose not to go all the way. Now imagine that same situation today, but with the moderates gone, with the hardliners at the table, with missiles that were never used still sitting in underground silos, with a population that has watched strike after strike land on Iranian soil. How does that response look? How far does it go? This is not about politics. This is not about picking a side. This is about reading a situation clearly and honestly. And what this situation says clearly is that the mechanisms for stopping this war are being destroyed faster than any negotiation can build them. The people who could talk are being targeted. The willingness to talk is evaporating. The weapons that have been held back are closer to being used than at any point in this conflict. Trump is now reportedly caught in a position where Israel's actions are undermining his own stated desire to avoid full-scale war. He wanted to stabilize oil. He wanted to project deal-making. He wanted to be the president who stopped the chaos. Instead, America finds itself locked into a conflict that its own ally keeps expanding, and there is no easy exit. Because stepping away from Israel now would be seen as abandonment, but staying the course means riding a wave that nobody knows how to stop. The world has very little time left to find a way through this. What comes next will depend entirely on whether any surviving figure on any side of this conflict still has both the authority and the willingness to step back from the edge. But with each passing day, with each targeted strike, with each denial of dialogue, that window closes a little more. And once it closes completely, what follows will not be a conflict that anyone who watched it unfold will look back on and say they did not see it coming. This is Kundi. You're watching Pulse America News. Stay close to this channel because this story is not over. Not even close.